Here is every wager I placed at UFC Vegas 113. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say I got a lot of flack last week because I skipped nearly every fight on the card because I just thought there was a lot of wishy-washy betting lines. But for this video, we have a wager on every single fight. So let's break it down. Here are the fights I'm skipping. Like I said, none, no, zilch, nada. We are wagering on every single fight. We have a 2-week hiatus after this card, and I'm going to go out swinging. I'm going to try to make a giant profit. Here are the fights where I'm simply waiting for the props to drop. We got Nikolai Veretnikov taking on Nico Price, and in this one, I don't know how you can possibly back or pick Nico Price in the year 2026 of our Lord. Nikolai Veretnikov is no world beater. However, I think if he gets takedowns going, he's going to be insanely live to win this fight by submission. So, Nikolai Veretnikov gets the fight to the ground. I think he can finish Nico there. He only has one career sub, and on Bet Online, his sub prop is plus 1,000. I will be putting $5 on that once it drops. Just an FYI, it's not an official listed bet because the lines aren't there. We also have Javid Basharat taking on Yanni Vasquez, another fight where I'm going to be taking Javid Basharat to win by sub. Vasquez has multiple losses by sub. His takedown defense is literally nothing. And Javid Basharat, the only thing he's going to try to do in this fight is get it to the ground and try to submit Vasquez. So whatever the prop is going to be for that, I will be putting some money on it as well. First fight we have an actual listed wager on is Priscilla Cachoeira taking on Klaudia Sygula. And in this one, Priscilla Cachoeira, she's the zombie girl. She constantly moves forward and gets in your face. So if Klaudia Sygula just doesn't deal well with that type of pressure, she's going to lose. However, Segula's been training with some marauders, some takedown merchants, Kayla Harrison, Michelle Montag, being Mesquita. So hopefully some of that training has done some osmosis over Sygula, and she's actually a good takedown threat now, because if Sygula gets it to the ground, she's going to finish Cachoeira. She's either going to ground and pound her to a TKO, or she's going to submit her. I don't know which one it's going to be. So the wager is going to be Klaudia Sygula to win this fight inside the distance. Normally, I would be skipping this fight, but since I got so much flack last week for skipping infinite fights, you know what? I'm going to throw 0.4 units on Sygula inside the distance. This is probably the worst bet I've ever placed in the history of my life, because if it doesn't hit, it's going to look really bad. Really bad. Sygula could just be not good. That is a very prominent thing in this fight. Next fight we got a wager on is Kong Wang taking on Eduarda Moura, and in this one, if Eduarda Moura gets the takedowns, she's going to submit Kong Wang. That's how I see this. And if she doesn't get the takedowns, Kong Wang is going to probably style on her on the feet and probably get a round 2 or round 3 finish, because Moura's cardio is not her strong suit. With all that being said, under 2.5 rounds, I like that play, plus 110, but I'm going for the big enchilada. I'm going for the home run swing. I'm going with Eduarda Moura. We got her money line, 0.4 units, plus 280, and we have her submission prop, plus 850, 0.2 units. Listen, if Moura gets it to the ground, she will submit Wang. If she doesn't, she will lose. But you're giving me plus 285 and plus 850 for those outcomes, and that's her main path to win, and she missed weight by 2 pounds, as did Kong Wang. Both of these fighters' cardios might be compromised. I'll take the gamble on Moura. Next fight we have a wager on is Bruna Brazil taking on Ketlen Souza, and I just don't know what Bruna Brazil is good at. Doesn't throw with power, doesn't throw with volume. The takedowns aren't really effective. The submission game isn't really there. Ketlen Souza, at least, throws with power, throws with volume. I'm trusting Ketlen Souza to win this by decision. So with that being said, the wager is simply Ketlen Souza to win this fight by decision. 0.8 units. We're betting Souza decision at plus 120. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Finz, you are in for a world of hurt. The only wagers you have so far are on women's mixed martial arts fights, and you have 3 of them. And I'll say to that, yes, that's true. I'm wagering on every single women's fight this card to prove a point. I'm proving a point this card, and one of the ways to prove that point is Wagering on Ketlen Souza by decision. Next fight we got to wager on is Dustin Jacoby taking on Julius Walker. And I understand Julius Walker has been rocked, wobbled by Alonzo Menefield, by Rafael Cerqueira, and now Dustin Jacoby is probably the best power puncher he will have fought up until this point, so it seems pretty easy to take Dustin Jacoby by knockout. However, Walker is 11 years younger. He's going to be taller. He's going to be longer. He's going to be way more athletic, and he's going to be pressing the action, looking for takedowns, looking for clinches. He might not even give Jacoby the opportunity to strike at distance. So with that being said, all the outlier factors point in the favor of Julius Walker, and I'm going to be wagering on Julius Walker, 0.68 units on Mr. Walker's money line, plus 154. I think if he gets takedowns going, he's going to look like a massive favorite. If Jacoby doesn't knock this guy out in the first, I would say, round, at that point, Julius Walker might just straight up flip to a favorite. He doesn't take punches well. I am concerned by that. But I don't really think he needs to take punches well, because I think he's just going to press forward and not give Jacoby the chance to strike. Next fight we got to wager on is Mario Batista taking on Vinicius Oliveira. And in this one, I think this is a 50-50 matchup. I think every department of MMA is almost even in terms of skill. Their takedowns are even, their submissions are even, their submission defense is pretty even, their volume striking is even. They both like to press each other in the face. I would say Mario Batista is just more technical and more clean than Vinicius, and Vinicius is more powerful and more of a KO threat than Mario. So if you put these guys in the octagon for 5 rounds, 25 straight minutes, Mario Batista, sure, he can probably technically outstrike Vinicius, but I think at some point Oliveira is going to land something big on Mario. It's going to turn Mario into a clinch merchant, and Vinicius is going to find a KO in rounds 3, 4, or 5. So I'm going with Vinicius Oliveira, 0.72 units on his money line. I don't know. I'll take the dog shot. I'm 0-2 on main events so far this year. Might as well make it 0-3. We'll go down swinging with the underdog shot on Vinicius. This week we have 3 parlays coming at you because I had to somehow wager on every single fight, and some of these fights don't have wagerable lines. That's why you gotta put 2 of them together. So for the first parlay, the first leg we're going with is Alex Morono taking on Daniil Donchenko. The first leg is Daniil Donchenko to win the fight in the first 2 rounds, minus 225. If Morono somehow is still standing in round 3, you know what? I'll lose the parlay. It is what it is. There's just no scenario I see that happening. If Carlos Leal can get this guy out in 1, Daniil Donchenko, who's 11 years younger, and Morono's on a 3-fight losing streak, he should be able to get it done in round 1. And we're parlaying that with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Marc-Andre Barriault. We're going with the exact same prop, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, to win in rounds 1 to 2. I think Marc-Andre's chin is basically checked out. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is on a mini career resurgence at the moment. Back-to-back round 1 KOs, and he's getting a chinny guy yet again. I think he's going to find the KO in rounds 1 to 2. We got 1 unit on this at plus 109. I think it's a pretty decent look. The second parlay we got going is Muin Gafurov taking on Jakub Wilklaks. We're going with Muin Gafurov moneyline. Now, I am concerned that Muin Gafurov did miss weight today. That is a big, big issue. His cardio could deplete as the fight goes on, which might allow Wilklaks to lock in a sub in rounds 2 or 3. But I'm sticking with my original read, which is basically Gafurov is going to be way better in the striking, way more powerful, technical. As long as he doesn't put his head into a guillotine, he should win this fight. So we like Muin as leg number 1. And leg number 2, we don't need to get too crazy with leg number 2 because number 1 is minus 144. We just got to make it plus money. And a simple way to do that is to take Farid Basharat versus Gene Matsumoto to go the full 15 minutes. Farid Basharat, not much finishing upside. Gene Matsumoto, not much finishing upside. These guys are both very good, technical, well-rounded fighters. So I think it goes the distance. I was going to take Farid Basharat by decision, but I think there is an outside chance that Matsumoto pulls a rabbit out of the hat in this one. I mean, he's way more built, way more muscular, probably way more powerful. Farid takes the technicality side and the takedown side, but I think this fight's going to play a lot closer than the odds, but I do like it to go to distance. 0.88 units for plus 119 for this parlay. And the third and final parlay we got, leg number 1 is Jailton Almeida taking on Rizvan Kuniev. We're going with Jailton Almeida money line minus 162. Now, throughout the week, I made a case that you shouldn't be wagering on this fight because my heart is way too invested in Jailton Almeida to win. But I looked at the comments of last week's wagering video, and I was like, you know what? I have to wager on this. It would make no sense to not put Jailton in a parlay, considering he's almost always minus 300, minus 500. And now when I get an actual line that I can wager on, minus 150, I'm not going to take it. That would just seem foolish and silly. I'm going with Jailton. And leg number 2, this should be pretty free, is Kyoji Horiguchi taking on Amir Albazi. We're going with Kyoji Horiguchi on the money line. So you put these two together. We got 1 unit on it at plus 109. I think Horiguchi is better in every department of MMA than Amir Albazi. And he should win that fight pretty easily. I wouldn't be shocked to see him find the finish as well. And the Finz Hammerlock, my weekly most confident underdog pick of the card. Last week we had Diego Lopez. Yeah, that was bad. The week before we had Michael Johnson. That fight just got canceled. So this year we're 0-1-1. Let's try to find our first win on an underdog. We're going with Julius Walker, plus 154. I already made the case earlier why I think you should take Julius Walker, and I'm taking it one step further. I'm saying he's my most confident underdog on the card. So let's get it. And I have a decent long shot parlay for you. Last week, it missed on the third leg because I had Rufi and Fazeev to go the distance. That was unfortunate. The week before, it missed on the third leg because I had Paddy by finish, so that was unfortunate. Let's see if we can turn it around this week and actually send you home with some money in your pocket. First leg is Daniil Donchenko by knockout any round. 1, 2, or 3, I think he gets it done. Farid Basharat by decision. I think the fight goes to distance, and I think Farid wins. So you put those two things together, and you get Farid by decision. And Kyoji Horiguchi on the money line. Would not be shocked if he pulls out the sub. You could make him do the sub, and you would have a cycle, because you have Donchenko KO, Farid decision, Kyoji sub. That would make the odds insanely juicy, but I'll take the plus 242. At the end of the day, I'm trying to turn money into more money. Pretty confidently. I'm not trying to just boo. You know, I did do that with Eduarda Moura, just whoo. But and you know, maybe Klaudia Sygula inside the distance. I might have way too much money wagered on women on this card, and usually when that happens, I end up losing a lot of money. So we'll see how it turns out this week. Let me know in the comments what your favorite wager of the card is, and have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Have a great viewing experience. I'll see you on X, on Instagram. You savage.